Good evening, everybody. Good evening, my viewers. This is Beacon of Hope, our Friday program where we empower, where we aim to reach out, particularly to the diaspora in UK and other places. And tonight is another program, and I'm sure you are all excited, and I know you are all looking forward to this program tonight because it's a program where everybody wants to know what next. Now that we are registering to vote, what next? I know everybody is excited. I know you are all looking forward. I am sharing as we talk. I am sharing because I would like to get as many people on the show as possible. Just click that button, hit that button, share, invite people. Let's get as many people on the program as possible. And guys, tonight is all about Kenya and the diaspora vote, and particularly now the voter registration. I don't know how well prepared you are. I don't know what you think. I don't know whether you have registered. Personally, hands up. I was there at the embassy and I love the system. It's just 2, 3, 4 minutes. It's done. We want to know. We want to hear from you. We want to chat. We want to ask questions. We want to engage. It's not up to us. We are not the final word. We just like you and I. It's only that some of us are leaders in our own ways, but we want to engage with you Kenyans in the UK, in diaspora, not just UK, diasporians in America, diasporians in Germany, in other places, Canada. Come on here, let us come and engage. This is our time. We have spoken about this voting for such a long time. And now, hey guys, the doors have been opened for us. Now, can I now kindly ask you, when you log in, kindly share. Let us see how many guys we've got tonight. Kindly let us share. I'm doing exactly that as we speak now. That is what I am doing. I am sharing on my gadgets. I want to share on every gadget that I've got because I would like this message to reach out to as many people as possible. I hope you are all sharing. I hope you are able to reach out to as many people because that is why we are here. That is why we are here. Come on, people, share. Share, invite people, invite Kenyans. Tonight it's all about this is what we call technology. Tonight it's all about this diaspora vote. We have spoken about this for such a long time. Welcome, Joy all the way joining us from Germany. Joy also might have questions, might have things that have cropped up in Berlin, because the lady tonight talking to us has come all the way from Kenya so that she can update us, so that she can tell us what is happening. Like I said, I've been to the embassy all day today. I spent my day there because I wanted to see this for myself. I wanted to be a witness and say what is happening. So here we are, guys. We would like to get on with our program tonight. And I've got my 2 special guests. Then, once we have shared enough, I will bring in the lady coming all the way from Nairobi to come and talk to us. Once again, guys, this is Beacon of Hope. And tonight, the program is all about diaspora vote. We have asked for it. We have been meeting. We have been trying to advocate using all our means possible. And here we are. So in order to do that, in order to join us, please join us on Facebook. You can go on my page, Elizabeth Kangede. After that, share. You can go on Lucas Kamau page. You can go on Agri Kanyaga's page. Any other person you see. And once you get here, kindly share. Or you can go on YouTube channel. That one, you don't need to log in. You don't need any to put your credentials. Just go on Beacon of Hope Beacon. And without wasting any more time, I would like to bring in the 2 gentlemen, and then we crack it on from there. Here we go. We are the 3 of us for now. I repeat, for now, because some of you might say, oh, they are the same people. Oh, yes. But we are bringing in our other guests. Can I ask Bona Lucas, introduce yourself. I'm sure there are new people who do not know who you are. Could you mind to introduce yourself, please?
Well, good evening, and thank you so much, Councillor Kangeda, for this another chance. My name is Lucas Kamau, uh, chairman of KCCC, which is Kenyan Chairpersons Council in the UK, and also the chairperson of the SEC Group Southeastern Kent. I also have businesses. I've got a care agency, Vision One Services, and I've got a property business, which is Blue Vision Properties. So that is me. I'm a husband of one wife and two children, and also an admin in a church called Pillars Christian Center. Thank you so much. That's me in a nutshell.
Thank you. That is Chair Lucas Kamau. And next to him, we've got Agnes. Would you like to introduce yourself, my brother?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Councillor Kangede, for this wonderful opportunity once again to mobilize our people to go and vote. That we cannot re-emphasize that message enough. And that's why we are on this program. Even if we repeat it so many times, I think the message has to get home. To introduce myself, so as you heard, my name's Agri Kanyanga. I'm the Secretary General of KCCC UK. I'm also the chairperson of Kenyans living in Hertfordshire. I live in Hemel Hempstead. Like Lucas, I'm a man of one wife and two children. I'm a leader in the church, and I'm also the chairman of KIH Investment Group, which is based in the UK and investing in Kenya.
Wow, you've heard it all, guys. The two gentlemen tonight have introduced themselves. The two of you have been so much involved with the registration of voters, the mobilization. Why have you taken this initiative and how has it been? Can I ask Chair Lucas? You have been very much in touch and mobilizing and involved. Can you tell us how it's been?
Well, we started this process late in December, just before Christmas, when we were contacted by the Kenya High Commission. Then we met with the Iabc team, community leaders, and some other leaders in the business community, and some media personalities were there. So we met with Iabc, and that's where we started mobilizing for a vote in December. Unfortunately, we did not have enough, we haven't had enough time to mobilize, because most of the questions that we have asked, they are being responded to now, and some of these things might not even happen quickly, because some people would have loved to apply for their passports, have the passports to go and vote. Some people would have loved to use the ID, but as we say, we are where we are. We make use of what we have, and as of now, I believe we have not registered as many people as we would have wished, but let us go out there and register. So that is the short journey, but this journey started over 10 years ago, if I may say. There we have got people like yourselves, Councillor Kangele, and the group of UKEN, who are championing this from 2012. So now that it has come to fruition, what are we doing about it? Are we registering to go and vote?
Thank you, Chair Lucas. Guys, viewers, you've heard for yourselves. It's been a long journey since 2012. We've come a long way. We've been fighting to get this, and here we are, guys. I don't know whether Agri has anything to add. I don't want to blow my own trumpet, but I know we've burned the midnight oil. We've been meeting, sending delegations, sending messages, even putting some on the media. But here we are. I'm excited to see this come to fruition. Agri, would you like to add anything to that?
Yeah, just like Lucas says, this has been a journey and a long one indeed. Like yourselves, Janet Wainaina and a few others. There's been a lot of people working in the background. We can't name each and every person, but everyone who has put in the effort, it's come to fruition. So we are here now. The time, I must admit, was very minimal for us to be able to, to put the structures we would have liked in place. But we are here and we have to work with what we have. I went to the embassy myself on Thursday to register. And, I was a little bit disappointed when I heard it was only 50 people who had registered at that time. But I think, the numbers will go up as we come to the weekend. I think there's a lot of people who work quite hard here in the UK, and they to get time to go and do something like a voter registration in London can be a little bit of a challenge. But I would like to encourage our people just to do it. This is a sacrifice that we have to make it work this time with what we have. There will be teething problems, as we've all seen. The process is not perfect. There are some who do not have the required documentation, and they're trying to process that now. But we are learning as we go. And I believe the next time, it's going to be better. But we have to show an interest because we are stakeholders in the country called Kenya, and we have to participate in these elections.
Wow, I like that. I love the way you've just explained. You can't explain any better. And I like the fact that we all admit there's been teething problems, and just like any other project, but the fact that we are here now after so many years, after waiting for such a long time, I repeat once again, personally, I am excited that at least, even if it's just voting for the president, that means it's one step, and that is all we need. It's a journey of a many miles, but we've just taken the first step. And to take us further on tonight, viewers of Beacon of Hope and Kenyans in diaspora, we've got a lady who has come all the way from Kenya, and I would like to see you guys type in your comments, type in your questions. We have the lady here who is a member, one of the managers in the IEBC, and she's got at least first-hand information. Some of you have been asking questions, and when Lucas or some of us answer, you insist, can we hear this from the IEBC? Hey, you asked for it, you get it. Now here we are, because some of the information we've been giving, some people think, oh, these guys are just part of us. Do they know? And it's true, yes. What we've been feeding back is what we have heard from the people at the IEBC. And now, without wasting further any more time, I will bring in nice. Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening. Nice to see all of you. Lucas, Agree. Good to see you guys again.
How are you?
I'm very well. Not warm here. I miss home. I miss the warmth.
I know. Would you like to introduce yourself and let the viewers know who you are? It's
Yes.
Kenyans in diaspora and beyond.
Very well. My name is Naisia Tobiko. I work for the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission. I am in charge of commission services. I'm a manager. In the previous meetings, they've been calling me commissioner, and I have been taking it by faith. Agree. Thank you very much, from your mouth to the ears of God.
I do apologize, nice.
No, don't apologize. It could be prophetic. You never know. But yes, I am a manager with IBC, and we are here to facilitate yourselves and to make sure that you finally get to participate in the governance of your country, not just by sending your monies back home, but also by having a say in the leadership, having a say in who leads that country, and just contributing in policy making, in governance, and all these provisions that you have an opportunity to be involved in. And thank you, Councillor Elizabeth. It was very nice to meet you and the other leaders that were at the embassy today. I am delighted, and I look forward to a very engaging session. We have had a couple of engagements with Lucas and Agree and the other leaders of KCC. I must commend you guys. You're doing a splendid job. We appreciate very much. You have made our work a lot easier. So yes, thank you for having me.
Thank you so much. And once again, Nicey, we welcome you. And sorry about the cold. We are not used to it being here. Some of us, we don't want to say how many years, and you still feel the cold. Now, would you like, before we bring in our issues here so that we can know exactly whom we are addressing, your role, your job as a manager, what does it entail? What do you do at the IEBC?
Like I mentioned, I am manager in charge of commission services. If I was to wrap it up, the commission has structures. One of the structures is the commission itself, which is the commissioners, the chair and 6 commissioners. So that's the people we call the commission, and they're charged with the responsibility of oversight, policy, strategy, and oversight. And then we have the secretariat. The secretariat is headed by a CEO, and we have a whole structure and organogram. Now, my role is to act as an interface between the commissioners and the secretariat. As manager in charge of commission services, I am the link between the commission and the secretariat. So I am pretty much involved in everything commission, in all activities, anything that commissioners are involved in, anything that secretariat is involved in, I am involved. So that's what I do. But previously, I have been with the institution for, this is my 12th year. And I have served as at different capacities. I joined as a returning officer. I was a field officer. And then I got an opportunity. I had Lucas referring to the start of the journey when Ahmed Isak was the chair. I served in his office as his personal assistant and manager in the office of the chair. So I am absolutely in the picture in as far as your struggle is concerned. So that is what I do, Councillor Kangede. I act as an interface and the liaison between the secretariat and the commission.
Thank you. The reason why I wanted you to explain your role is because these people might think we've just picked on somebody to just come and talk to them. You know, I wanted them to know exactly so that when they throw the questions at you, they know this is the right person to talk to us, to address our issues. Now, to start off, would you tell us why do you think it is important for us in diaspora to vote, and yet we don't live in Kenya? You might have an answer to that. We should be answering that. But what do you think?
What I think at the top of my mind, you may not be living in the geographical space that is called Kenya, but you're Kenyans at the end of the day. You're Kenyans. And Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya, which talks of your political rights, does apply to you. The rights that are given us by the Constitution is not limited to a geographical space. And therefore, these rights that are enshrined in the Constitution, and which Constitution I'm sure, you know, maybe some of you did participate in voting in, those rights also apply to you. So you have as much political right as I do. And these rights, like I said, one of them is a right for you to be registered as a voter. Now, what the Constitution of 2010, the one that was promulgated in 2010 did, it acknowledged that there is a population, a Kenyan citizenry population that resides outside of Kenya, and it gave them the opportunity to participate in the governance of their country, to participate in the electoral processes of their country. Article, I think it's 82, Article 82 actually talks about us progressively enabling the citizens of this country, the citizens of Kenya who reside outside the geographical space that is Kenya, to participate. So progressively participating in the governance of your country by registering as voters and ultimately participating in elections. So yes, you may not be in Kenya, but the provisions of the Constitution also benefit yourselves. And that is why I think it is very important. It's long overdue, but it is absolutely important. And I think this is the time.
Right. I'll hand over to Lucas. I'm sure he has a question, and then to Agri, and then we will wait for the questions from the chat. And I've got a few that have already been posted to me. Wanda Lucas, over to you.
Wow, nice. Thank you. Nice again to meet you this evening after the time we were together again in December. And also you have participated in the Zoom meetings that we have had. Now, I want to ask you the very basic question that we've had this question from people, and they keep asking this question again and again and again. And I know because this will be viewed again. Can we have hammered enough that we cannot use a Kenyan ID to register here in the UK unless you are ready to vote in Kenya? I understand, I was told, but can you tell people again why they are Kenyan citizens and Kenyan ID is recognized as a form of identification in Kenya, and it cannot identify them right now as they register to vote? That's the basic question.
Very well. Yes, it's basic, but it's critical, because even while at the embassy today, a Kenyan came to vote, and again, the question of the ID arose, and I kept thinking, didn't we clarify this well enough? But I guess at the end of the day, we are Kenyans, right? We have to keep drumming, we have to keep repeating this, and by the time we get to reach everybody else. So yes, Lucas, your question is valid. We cannot use a Kenyan ID outside East Africa. And allow me to start by explaining why we use it. We use it in East Africa because it's a document that is recognized. It's a document that I can use to travel. It's a document that I can use to identify myself. Now, for those of you who do not live in East Africa, there are those of you who have taken up dual citizenship. Now, you take up dual citizenship, and the document you use is your passport, or even for purposes of traveling, what you have used is your passport. So we cannot use an ID outside East Africa because it's not recognized. It's not recognized, and most importantly, a number of people actually do not have those IDs. Those of you who live here, a number of them do not have those IDs. So for us, what we use is a passport. If you look at the passport, even back at home, we have the option of using an ID and a passport. Why? Because this particular document of an ID is recognized at home. But beyond the boundaries of Kenya, it's not a recognized document. So what is recognized internationally is a passport for you. That is the one that you can use across. And you will be voting here, not in Kenya. And like you have rightfully observed, Lucas, for anyone who wishes to vote in Kenya, then you can use an ID, because across the border, then we recognize that ID. So if you're registering here to vote in Kenya, then an ID would be admissible. But for the case of those of you who are registering here to vote here, an ID cannot be admissible. It's not recognized beyond the East African borders.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nice. Agri, over to you. Question, please.
Nice to catch up with you again.
Nice to catch up with you.
Yeah, enjoy the cold weather like we do.
What's a nice idea?
Yeah, it will give you an experience which you can go and share with the guys out there and tell them how we enjoy our life here. But the question that I'm going to ask is in regards to voter registration. A lot of people have come to me and said that, look, you are a community leader, and KCCC have engaged with the IEBC. Why hasn't the IEBC decided to traverse this country and register people to make it easier for them? Because we have to travel all the way to London, and yet they have this KIMS kit which they can just put in a suitcase and carry and come and set up, and we, as community leaders, we can organize a hall or a place for you to come and register our people, kind of bringing the service to the doorstep. Why has the IEBC not thought of doing that this time?
Agree. Thank you. It's not that the IEBC has not thought of doing that. When we started this journey, and I was explaining it to one of the ladies who came to the High Commission to register and wanted to know why we are not doing so many things. When this journey began, when we were charged by Parliament to operationalize the particular article of the Constitution that requires us to progressively register citizens of Kenya who reside outside of Kenya, one of the things we were required to do was to develop a diaspora policy, which we did. We developed a diaspora policy, and this was tabled. And when this was tabled, we were advised that let us start within East Africa. We started within East Africa. The provisions of the law as it is right now is that this only happens within a consulate, an embassy or a consulate, as it is right now. But I was explaining earlier today and telling people that for us to moving it to other areas where we may not even have consulates, it requires of us to make our voice heard. So we are starting from the point which the Constitution recognizes and allows us for now, which is the High Commission and the consulates. So that is where we are starting at now. But that does not mean that in future we cannot progress. If you are to think about the steps we have made in as far as elections management is concerned, it has been a long and tiring journey. Right from the days of Mlolongo, look where we are now. I first voted in 97, right after high school. And from what I understand from reading and from being in elections management, it was pretty hectic before that. People were doing Mlolongo. It was very manual. We have slowly, since 2013, try to incorporate the use of elections technology, the use of technology in management of elections. What I'm trying to say is the fact that we are doing it in London only at this point does not mean come 2027, we will not have made steps. This is the beginning point. Depending on the numbers, which will give us the voice, we could actually be able to lobby and have the electoral laws governing registration of Kenyans outside of the country amended or changed to make them more facilitative. But as it is right now, the law only recognizes embassies and consulates. But yes, assuming it was to be amended, IBC has the capacity, and as far as manpower is concerned, when you talk of budgetary or financial capacity, at the end of the day, we depend on the exchequer, we depend on government. But in as far as the manpower, the human resource, we do have that. But that for now will have to be put pending. As it is right now, legally, what is provided is registration at the consulates and the embassies. Thank you, Agri.
Thank you. Which brings me to my next question here. Somebody's really asking. Okay, I'll continue reading the questions that come up. But this question is inbox. It's the person is asking why you mentioned about using the technology. If we are in the Western world now, why you cannot trust? Why do people have to travel? Somebody has even put it that these days to get a visa, we don't even go to the embassy. We apply online. All we need to upload is our passport to verify that's me, and then I get a visa and I travel. Why can't this system be used to register and then people will only come to vote? Why couldn't that be done? And the same person has also said, how come the government facilitated for the travel to get the, Huduma number, and now when it comes to voting, they cannot travel? You might not have the answers, but
I may not have the answers, but I will attempt. Let me address the use of technology and why we are not doing it digitally. I will explain again, and we have done that before. Until 2013, there was no use of technology in elections management. We actually started using technology in 2010 when we were developing a new register to be able to enable Kenyans participate in the elections of August 2010 for the referendum, which referendum then gave us this constitution that we have now. We have since developed. We started with what we called OMR. That is what we started with. But now we have developed to doing what we call what is digital, basically. I mean, for those of you who have registered, you saw us taking a picture of yourself, you saw us taking your biometrics. Previously, that was not there. We were capturing your details in Optimal Mark Reader, what we are calling an OMR. That is what we were doing. Like those who did KCP, that shedding of the question papers, that is what we were doing previously. Now, we cannot have people register digitally because, again, I will go back to the law. The law as is now requires you yourself to present yourself before a registration officer. Actually, it is in the Constitution that you shall only register in one registration center, and you are required to physically present yourself before a registration officer. We haven't yet gotten to a point where we open a portal and we allow people to register themselves digitally. If you look at what we do back at home, we have the eCitizen platform. At home, what you do when you're getting government services, yes, you go ahead, book your appointment. You still have to present yourself physically to the CID headquarters for the taking of fingerprints. That might change ultimately. I hope so. I don't know. I can't purport to speak for government. But for us as IEBC, our future is a situation where we do not have to manually go. It is very tiresome. It's very costly. What we envision as a commission is a situation where everything is done at the touch of a button. We should be able to transact business digitally without having to physically present yourselves. We are managing issues of trust because as a country, we have serious trust deficits. And that is why in Kenya, we cannot easily go into electronic voting. Actually, not just in Kenya. In Africa, the only country that has electronic voting is Namibia. I don't know, well, that was in 2014. I don't know if there are other countries that have joined, but I think Namibia was the only one that was doing electronic voting. Now, if you delve into that, you'll be dealing with issues of trust. No politician trusts that the numbers will be genuine if we were just to do it digitally. But as an institution, and an institution that appreciates the use of technology, we are looking at a situation where ultimately that is the direction to take. But that is futuristic. Right now, where we are at as we register yourselves for participation of you in the 2022 general elections of August, you have got to physically present yourself to the Kenyan High Commission and be registered by our officers. We could go digital come 2022, come 2027, but again, that is me speaking by faith.
Wow, thank you very much. Viewers, once again, we are here, and our talk tonight on Beacon of Hope is Diaspora Vote. Please type in your questions, inbox like QR. We've got Lucas Kamau. If you're comfortable, you can inbox him. We've got Agri and I'm here, or you could just type on the screen, and then your questions will be handled. Could I kindly ask Bona Lucas to read that question from Bonnie Karaoke, please, so that Nicey can try and handle that.
We've got this question from Reverend Bonnie, but we are not using the ID. Still the same question of ID. We are not still using the ID for foreign voting, but using it to vote for Kenya. I wonder how comes that Kenyan ID is not recognized by their own embassy. That's a question from Reverend Bonnie.
I think that question you really need to hammer, because I think that is a question that needs to be understood clearly. Don't mind if it's repeated in a different format, but please explain.
Reverend Bonnie, when you traveled from Kenya to come to the UK, you did not use your ID. You used a passport. We want to make one thing clear. We are registering Kenyans who are acknowledged at your embassy. And your embassy acknowledges you using your passport. I appreciate that there are people who have issues with their paperwork and have perhaps not registered. Sorry, I'm going to delve into very uncomfortable waters, but maybe just put this to rest. We appreciate that there could be Kenyans whose papers are not in order. Your embassy has you documented using your passport and not your ID. So as an institution, we are guided when we are getting projections, when we are getting numbers, we were getting numbers from the embassy, those Kenyans that are registered by their embassies across the world. And those are the people we are targeting. Now, when you registered with your embassies, you did not use a Kenyan ID. You used a passport. And therefore, for us, we stick to that document that is acknowledged by your embassies, because we are not going to register people that have not been identified and registered by their embassies. And again, your embassy registers you using your passport, and that is what we use. Thank you, Lucas.
Thank you. Can I ask Agri to read? There's a question from Bishop Annie Jerry, please. Would you like to go through that question, please?
Okay, Bishop Annie Jerry is asking, and what will... Okay, so I think I'll just have to maybe... Yes, what will happen to some Kenyans who haven't been able to get the Kenyan passports because they don't have a Kenyan mobile number to receive the verification code and the passport is expired? Any help? I think I actually had this problem in my community, where they go to eCitizen, they register, and then because they are using their UK number with +44, that number is not recognized as a Kenyan number, so they don't get the verification. I don't know if Nicey will be able to answer. I cannot speak for her, but this what I say to the person who is in my community is, use your Kenyan number if you have one. Use your Kenyan number, the one you used to send M-Pesa, but obviously not everyone has that number. So Nicey, back to you. Maybe you can answer that question.
Agree. I have no idea what number they're talking about. All I know is that if you registered with us, for instance, the number you gave us is a Kenyan number, when we facilitate you to do verification of details, we will use that same number. So I suppose that is what you're speaking to. I don't know what numbers they're talking about, but I suppose it's the contact. But let me talk about the issue of passports. In the first and the second engagement we had, in which the High Commission was represented, they made it very clear that they're willing to facilitate Kenyans who had applied for renewal of their passports to quickly get their passports renewed in time to enable them to register. And they also said that those who are still in possession of the old generation passports would be allowed to register. And there was a communique recently after a special meeting in the East African community, that allowed us as a country to continue the use of the old generation passport until November of this year. So as far as the use of a passport is concerned, you can still use your old generation passport for registration. You'll use it for voting because it's still valid until November this year. But like Agri has said, I suppose the embassy, or rather the High Commission, can only contact you using the number you have provided. So if you provided a Kenyan one and the one you have now is a UK one, then technically it makes it impossible for them to communicate with you. Thank you, Agri.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think the challenge here is more than the number that you provide to the Kenyan embassy, because what it is, when you go to the e-citizen, for example, you want to renew a passport, then there is a verification code that they send you once you've completed that process for you to be able to go in, and then you print that initial appointment. And that system doesn't seem to accept the UK number. It's probably configured just to accept a Kenyan number. So that is maybe something we can highlight to the embassy and say that this is, people in the UK are having this challenge, because I've come across this once in my community where someone had that problem. So Bishop Annie, maybe this is a question that is cannot be answered on this forum, but we'll take it on board. We'll ask the embassy and see how they can help in terms of streamlining that process, so that people with other foreign numbers, for example, it might not just be the UK. Maybe this problem is somewhere else, and if it can be sorted out, then that will be of benefit to our people.
Right.
But back to you, Councillor.
Lucas, do you have anything to add to that?
No, I do understand where that question is coming from, but some of the things that happened, actually, people have used numbers of their relatives back in Kenya to receive this verification code. So that is a temporal solution for that matter. You can use somebody, your mom, your brother's number. Once they get that verification code, then they will pass it on to you. That is what is happening presently. But as Agri has said, we will keep pushing for the diaspora numbers or foreign numbers to be used in that e-citizen. Those are the things that why we are asking. We create the numbers. Once we register to vote and we have the numbers, they will take us seriously.
Right.
Yeah, I think I've had a similar question being posted to me by fellow Kenyans about that. When they want to renew their passports, you must have a Kenyan Safaricom number or whatever, Airtel, so that the code is sent to you. That's what they are referring to. And it becomes very complicated if you do not have a Kenyan number. And if you register a Kenyan number and it's not active within, I think, 6 months or so, the number is taken. So even if you are traveled and you are not activating, so there's a challenge there. But I believe that is an issue to be handled by the embassy, which actually, even as we are here, we can send that message, because that is why we are here. We need to make things a bit swifter for our people, make them a bit easier, talk on their behalf, because the same problems could apply to my children, to my grandchildren, to my relatives. So we really need to think of how even the embassy can continue. I know that the ambassador engages so much, but these are some of the issues that need to be raised. Now, there's a question here now.
Sorry, let me just add to this, Councillor.
Okay, please, go ahead.
I think one of the challenges we're experiencing is that whereas the Constitution of 2010, our current Constitution, for the first time actually did acknowledge the need to involve the Kenyan in diaspora in a number of these things. When it comes to operationalizing these articles and these provisions of the Constitution, you find some gaps. And perhaps when e-citizen, the brains behind e-citizen were developing this, they did not consider beyond the geographic or the boundaries of this country. And these are challenges we're experiencing in a number of things when it comes to operationalizing the articles that involve you a little more in governance. But like you have said, this can be pursued through the embassy. It can also be pursued through the Ministry of Immigration, through immigration, because those are the people that manage the e-citizen platform. We could also, just help to put some weight to the Department of Immigration to see if this can be opened to accommodate other numbers other than those that are active within the country.
Thank you so much. Once again, viewers, I want to remind you that tonight on Beacon of Hope program, we are so happy and privileged to have Nice, who is one of the managers from the Iabc. Nice just arrived yesterday just to come and see what is happening and see whether they need to facilitate more and, to get a feel of what is happening. So for any questions that you may have, I know most of you have been throwing these questions to us on the platform, and Lucas and a few other leaders, but all we can answer is what we get from them. And now here, guys, we are so lucky to have the first-hand information, to have the questions answered. So any issues, any questions that you may have to do with the registration of the diasporians, please throw them here. It does not matter. I've seen people following from Germany. I've seen people from Canada, from America. If you've got any questions, the same issue would apply, because we are, at the end of the day, we are all in the diaspora and we want to exercise our rights to vote. We want our voice to be heard. Now, somebody has a question here. What can I do if I will be traveling to Kenya in August and I do not have a passport? Can I register with my Kenyan ID to vote in Kenya?
Yes, you can. If your intention is to vote in Kenya, present yourself to the High Commission. We will register you using your ID, because your voting station will then be Kenya. It will not be here. And in Kenya, you can use either your ID or your passport. So yes, if you're going to be voting in Kenya, present yourself. And maybe this is why I need to point out that the services we are offering at the High Commission, one is we have new registrations for Kenyans residing in the diaspora and who intend to vote here, and that is where we are exclusively using a valid passport. We also have transfers. We can transfer a voter from where you originally voted to bring you to come and register and vote in the UK. Again, you need to use that. And then we have new registrations of people who are here, but who know that come August 9th, they will be in Kenya. Now, those people, we can either use an ID or a passport, whatever it is you want to use, because back at home during voting on the 9th of August, you can either use your ID or your passport. So yes, it's an ID that will be used for that.
I want that clarified, because after this, I'm happy that this is on record. I want this made very, very clear that NICE is not telling us we can use our ID. Where can we use our ID? Please, could you clarify this? We want this message loud and clear.
I'm about to speak in Kiswahili.
Hata Kiswahili ongea.
Nitasaidia kidogo.
Ongea Kiswahili kidogo. Tuko Waswahili hapa ni wa Kenya.
No, very well. We are saying that we are offering 3 different services at the High Commission. One, we are doing new registrations of those Kenyans who live in the UK and who will be voting in the UK on August 9th. Now, for those Kenyans, we will use a valid passport. Number 1. Number 2, we are saying that we are also doing registration for Kenyans who are presently in the UK, but who know that come August 9th, they will be in Kenya. So you're registering here, but for you to vote, you'll be voting back at home, whatever station of your choice, but back in Kenya. Now, for those of you who will be in Kenya in August, we are saying you have the option of using your ID or your passport. ID or passport, because for those of us registering at home, those are the 2 documents we are using. So if you're registering in the UK, but you will be voting in Kenya, then you have the option of an ID or a passport. But if you're registering in the UK to vote in the UK, you have to use your valid passport, and that alone. The option of an ID is only for those of us who are registering here but will be home for the voting of 9th of August. I suppose that is clear.
That is very clear, and I wanted that message to be hammered home because we've had that question again and again. The documentation question is there, but now, guys, this is clear that if you have a Kenyan ID and your desire is to vote in Kenya, like some of us would like to go and vote for our women rep, our MCA, our MP, you can still register here in London, and that time you can use your Kenyan ID,
Yes.
but then only to vote in Kenya come August.
Yeah.
You can use your passport, you can use your ID. What about if I just register like what you are doing, but I don't want my station to be here? I have everything and I would like my station to be Nairobi or wherever. Is that in order? Do I need to tell the registration clerks
that you're registering here, but you want your station to be where?
I want to be my station in Kenya. I want to go back in August and vote in Kenya.
Yeah, that's what I was explaining. Yes, you can register here and vote at home in Kenya. When you're voting in Kenya, you are the person who's got an option of using either your valid passport or your ID. So yes, that is what you were explaining. But for those, yes, agree.
Yes. So sorry to come in.
Go ahead.
Now, this is a very interesting topic, and I'm glad that you're clarifying that point, because it can be one of those where people will not understand. Now, somebody registers here and says they want to vote in the UK, for example, okay, and then come closer to August, they decide that they want to travel to Kenya. In addition to what you've just told us, as you clarify this point, can they decide that, hang on a minute, I need to change my voting post to Kenya now, midway, so in between, once the IEBC has stopped the registration exercise in London, those people who have registered, can they decide to change their polling station to another country, for example?
No, agree, because the development of the register of voters is very procedural. So what we are doing now, we have opened our machines to fresh registrations and to transfers. After the 7th of February, we close that particular phase and move home, and now to a different step of developing the register. The next time we come here, because we will still come here to give you an opportunity to verify, to do verification and to inspect the register. Now, during that time, we will not be open. The portal for transfer must be closed. The reason being because legally there is a point at which the register has to be closed for us to be able to do verification and to do inspection. And most importantly, for us to do what we call audit. Right now, the amendments of 2016, the amendments of 2016, the joint committee of Senate brought about the need to have the register audited, and it's audited by a firm that is not ourselves. So that is what makes it necessary for us to close this register at some point, give it to a firm that will be competitively recruited, give it to this firm who then will audit it. After the auditing, we'll come and open and ask you to come and verify and inspect to be sure that your details. So you'll come and tell us, my name is not Kanyanga. My name is not Kanyange, it's Kanyanga. So you'll come and correct your particulars. Then you come and tell us, no, the passport number you have captured is not correctly captured, so correct this. When we open it next, we will be correcting your particulars. If you have anything to correct, if you have any amendments, if, for instance, your registration document, the passport you used to register, has since expired and you have a new one, you bring, then we do those amendments. So the next time we open the register, we will be doing verification and inspection, so there will be no room for transfer.
Okay, so now it sounds like now that we've registered, we are going to either get some communication to say that this is you've registered as XYZ. That is, at that point is when I will notice that, hang on a minute, this is not right. The ID is looking different. The passport number is different. My name is different. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that is that communication, does it come through an email or?
The communication will be done once we have the register audited and we open it for inspection. Again, we will engage yourselves. It's a process that is as engaging as this one. So we'll engage yourselves, we'll engage the High Commission and let them know that this is a register. We could even post it and have you access it. For those of you who are outside, have it give you a portal or give you a shortcode through which you can then access. You send a shortcode message to the number you have given us, and it gives you the details. So it will say Naisiai Paloshe Tobiko, registered at Limuru Model Primary School, but then the ID number will be wrong, for instance. And that is what I will go to the station to ask that it be corrected. So yes, it will be communicated.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Back to you, Councillor.
I'm not sure whether Lucas has any question, anything you've got from your inbox?
No, just in connection with that. The transfer window is ending end of February. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, my question is end of February.
For you people, it's going to be tricky because we have to leave here. After 7th, we'll leave here.
And that is my question, because now we have got a transfer window that closes end of February. Then you're closing shop on the 7th of February. So who is going to do these transfers for us? Are you going to have a clerk in the High Commission, or how are we going to do these transfers when you're absent?
Sadly, Lucas, you will suffer some, level of disenfranchisement because of the distance. So for you, after 7th of February, you will not enjoy the provisions that we will enjoy back home, because it's unattainable for us to keep a clerk here. It's not sustainable. So we will not have a clerk here. So after 7th, unfortunately for Kenyans in diaspora, the transfer window will be closed.
Meaning then after registration, we cannot transfer. So there's no point of asking Kenyans to go to the High Commission with an ID, hoping to transfer sometime in February. So they'll have to fly to Kenya and do that transfer.
It will not, and only if you if you happen to come before the register has been forwarded for auditing. So for you, sadly, it closes on 7th. When we close shop on 7th, it will be game short. The next time we'll have the register here, it will be to enable you to inspect your particulars, just to be sure that everything is correct before August 9th.
Wow, which brings me to a question, and this question has been sent by two young people here, two different young people, but the message is the same. Yes, they are asking, why couldn't Iabc use the manpower, the young people here, our students in Kenya? They actually hire students as the clerks. Why couldn't they give them jobs? Why have they wasted so much resources instead of using what we have here in the diaspora?
It would have been a double cost for us, because if we had recruited from here, we would still have required to physically bring ourselves to come and train. Now, elections is not something you just wake up and you decide that because you have a Form 4, a degree or the equivalent in this country, you can manage. No, it's as technical as it gets. For those of you who have presented yourself for registration, you realize it's not that straightforward. So even if we had recruited people from here, we would still have had to fly in ourselves to come and train and to administer an oath, because you must be sworn in you must take an oath to be able to serve in any electoral activity. So yes, it would have been a double cost. And for us, given the sensitivity and the seriousness of this particular one, because we are doing the UK for the first time, like a number of other countries, given the seriousness and the sensitivity around it, I guess it's easier for the commission to trust me, who's a permanent employee of the commission, than to hire a neighbor of Kanyanga, who we are not sure about their availability. You see, back at home, when we recruit these clerks, a number of them will fall off during training, but we have a database which we fall back to. Now, in the UK, that luxury may not be there. I don't know how possible that would be. So for us, it made sense to have our own staff. And I can assure you it's not a very easy thing to have people coming over here. Traveling during these times is not one of the most interesting things to do, but we must do it because it is our civic duty, number one, and because my employer has sent me here. So Unfortunately for the young people, we would have wanted to engage you, but the logistics are not as facilitative as we would have wanted.
The same young people follow up. Oh my God! I wish they are here. They should have been.
They should have joined.
Been here. They are asking that does not make sense. It would have been less manpower. Send a person like you as the manager to come and train us. Even if you come twice, now you have had to pay for so many and even accommodate them. It does not make sense.
It makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense because these are staff of the commission. Whether they're here or they're in Kenya, they would still be paid. So I still have a salary. Whether I'm in the UK or in Kenya, I'll still get my salary. So it does make sense. Yes, it's costly to bring us all the way. It is costly. But like I said, given the sensitivity and given that we are in the initial stages, we are not yet at a point where we can afford to take any risks. If you saw what happened, that delayed the start of the whole exercise, you appreciate because, it's not something that you can just pick anyone and employ. Even for those who work for us back at home, they go through a serious process of not just recruitment, but training and swearing in and even scrutiny. So as it is right now, we are not able to engage anyone who's not a staff of the commission.
Well, as for me, you are preaching to the converted. I did say here.
I know.
I have been a returning officer. I have been a presiding officer in Githunguri. So I know it's a rigorous process.
Thank you.
Then those days, we did it. Somebody's asking a question here. She is here in UK. She is registered in her home area, but she'd like to move her registration to Nairobi. Is that possible to do here in UK? She's registered in Kenya. She would like to move, from Kirinyaga to Nairobi. But
yes, it is. When I was mentioning the services that we are offering at the High Commission, one of those I mentioned is that we have the provision of transfers, and we are able to transfer you from whatever point you registered at to the UK or back to Kenya. So yes, if you want to transfer, please go to the High Commission and we will facilitate your transfer.
Yes, Rose, your question is handled now. You can travel all the way from Lincolnshire, come to the embassy, come. This is possible. She did write to me and she has written. She doesn't mind her name being mentioned. She wants to transfer her vote from her village to Nairobi. Rose, that is possible. But remember, I want this clear. She registered in Kenya. Nice. So that's okay.
Sorry, she registered where?
She registered in Kenya, in Kirinyaga.
Right.
And she is here now. She wants to move her vote to Nairobi, her center to Nairobi.
Allow me to seek clarity because I know the transfer we are doing is from the original point of registration to the UK. So if I registered in Kajiado and I now want to register in the UK, we do that transfer. I will need to seek clarity to know if the machine is open to facilitate transfers of within 254, within Kenya, because it depends on the configuration of the machine. So if you and I can pick it up, I'll be able to clarify that so that I don't make promises that we cannot keep.
Yeah, I've got the contact details, please, before we give messages that you come back to us. So Rose, please, we revoke the previous message. So wait for clarification. Rose is asking whether she is here in the UK. She registered back home in Kirinyaga, but she wants to move her vote to Nairobi. And she is in UK. So Naitse will go and confirm that. And Rose, I will come back to you.
But now, while at it, Councillor, please emphasize the transfer we are doing. We can transfer her who's registered from Kirinyaga, right? So we can remove her from Kirinyaga to the UK. The one I'm going to seek clarity is for anyone who's registered in Kenya somewhere and want to interchange but within Kenya, isn't it? But for anyone else who's registered from any corner, it was Kenya, it was Arusha, it was South Africa, we can transfer you to the UK. That one, the machine is configured and we can. The clarity I'm going to seek is for anyone who wants to do transfers, but within 254. That one is the clarity we are seeking. Any other transfer from whatever point of registration to the UK, that one is open. We are doing that.
And the question from Bishop Ann Jerry Maya, although we said we still want to confirm from the embassy, Maya is saying, hello, Bishop, you don't need a mobile number to get the code. You can use your email address. So there we go, Ann, Bishop Ann. So, but I say I am not the expert in this. We are reading what Maya has done, and I believe this is something that she has done in the past. Guys, any questions, any comments from your end, please?
Yes, from my end, I've got this question that have been asked about twice. How is IABC assisting in mobilizing Kenyans logistically to London, if it is the only registration center? And how are you assisting? Have you got the funds related to the commission for logistics in London? Are you paying for this program? Are you paying any groups to mobilize for registration?
Thank you, Lucas. One thing I have observed is that the Kenyans in the UK are like the Kenyans back at home. We are pretty much the same. The difference is only the geographical spacing. We are not paying any groupings at all. Like I observed earlier, our funding is from Exchequer. So we cannot and we do not have provisions in the budget to facilitate anybody's movement to come and register. Like we have said before, and I'll say again, it's purely voluntary. It's a sacrifice on your end for you to move yourself from one corner of the country to London, where registration is happening. We are not paying any groupings. When you see Lucas and Bishop and Agri, what they are doing for us, purely voluntary, purely giving of yourselves and your time and your resources to do this. We are not paying them in any way, not a dime. We do not have that budgetary provision. So we are not paying any of these groupings to do the hyping for us. And I'm glad you brought it up because someone texted me and asked me if they could do the mobilization you guys are doing at a fee. And I was very quick to point out that we are not being invoiced by Lucas and team or Agri or Councillor, none of them, because we do not have the money. So what they are doing is purely voluntary. It's just to facilitate and to partner with us. We work a lot with partners. So for us, this particular group is one of the partners that we are working with. We are not paying and we don't have the budgetary provision. Thank you.
I am glad you have clarified that because I've been asked by people whether I'm being paid. Guys, I am a community person and I do this. I am not being paid by anybody, but I love my country so much. Absolutely. And I want to see this. We've been sitting in meetings, nights, talking about this, sending emails to the IEBC, to the parliamentarians. So for me, I am not getting a penny, but I'm doing this for the love of my country, period.
The Lord bless you.
I'm glad that Nicey is here to confirm that. And now, the same issue of, I think this needs the embassy. Lucas, if you could quickly text the embassy. Somebody has said, I answered the bishop. My question about the plans, I recently renewed my passport for the first time on eCitizen. And I can tell you that you need a Kenyan number. I had to use my brother's number. The email is not working. Yes. So please, when we have this, we have to be very careful. We don't want to give contradicting answers. And please now allow me to bring in one of our young youth who should come and ask her questions. I'm sure that, she's here on behalf of others. I was expecting a few others, but they're sending in their questions. Chantel, welcome. How are you, Chantel? I'm sorry, you are mute. I need to unmute you. What is happening now?
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay, awesome. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
We're very well. Now, Nicey, Chantel is one of our young people here. And I had invited a few of them. I've answered a few questions from some of them. Chantel, here you are. Are you registered to vote?
I am not registered to vote for a couple of reasons. So,
that is what we want to hear. Go on, Chantel.
My name is Chantel. I've been following along with the conversation and it's been very interesting to hear just kind of what the history has been to be able to see this come into motion. And I'm a community curator here. I'm a general secretary with SEC Youth and a film producer. And I firstly want to say, I think that we have an amazing constitution that allows for this to actually take place, for us not to be bound by geographical location, and to be able to have this. This is not a privilege that a lot of other countries have. So I think to be able to take that on board is an amazing thing. And of course, I know that there's been a lot of work that has gone into that. My sort of question really is about the process of understanding where the youth does come into this in terms of diaspora youth. Of course, we know, like, globally, youth voting is generally quite low. In terms of the mobilization of people, of getting young people to vote, or getting, in general, diaspora to vote, like we heard, there's been about 50 people, I guess, of mid last week, and that opportunity, I believe, is closing on the 7th of February. What were the sort of marketing campaigns to allow people to understand and know what is going on and to be able to take part? I know that there's been a lot of mobilization on community levels, obviously with organizations like SEC, but in terms of really sort of engaging the youth, I believe that this is like the first step of greater efforts to come. But I really think that in general, for my reasoning why I'm not registered to vote is really an issue of dual citizenship and the process that takes for myself. So is there a partnership that is happening with the Iabc and the embassy to sort of understand the different steps and factors that might hinder? Of course, we've spoken about passport and IDs, Kenyans to vote, specifically young Kenyans who might have been born here with British citizenship, and maybe there is a complication in terms of getting dual nationality, because I believe that in terms of mobilizing people, you know, that's kind of got to be the first step, really, them being able to have that ability through the identification of a passport.
Wow, Chantel has shot us. There we go. I'll first of all throw this question to Nicey. And then we'll come in, Lucas and Agre, be armed. That's our question.
Chantal, very nice to have you. And it's a good thing to see a young person keen to participate in this. Very proud of you. Congratulations. This afternoon, I got to meet two young people, 20 and 21, right, Councillor? Who had come, one had come all the way from Oxford, and the other one was not from very far. They'd come to register, and that was very encouraging. For me, that was the highlight of the day. And perhaps as we continue to get more young people, then my joy will be complete. But in as far as involving the young people in the electoral process, for us in the Iabc, back at home, it's a lot easier because of the structures. The challenges we have here is that I do not know, and I stand guided, I do not know if there are any organized groupings or any organized structures of the young people. And I asked this question to the young people who came to register today. I asked them, do you have structures as the young people? Do you even know the young people within your neighborhoods, within your communities? Because if you do, then for us, we would take a lot of pleasure and joy in partnering, in working with you, like we are working with KCCC, and that for me would be very close to my heart because of the passion I have and the department has for the youth. So assuming you had structures, assuming you had the numbers, and there is an easier way to engage yourselves, that would be very welcome, and we would be very keen. I mentioned to the young people that we have our media person arriving tomorrow. I think he's still a young person. In Kenya, the young person, the youth is between 18 to 36. That's the age we consider youthful. And we would still consider the same here now that we are guided by the same constitution. So Chantal, assuming you had these structures, assuming you had a network of young people that, young people from Kenya that you work with, you are more than welcome to engage us. We would love to collaborate, and we would love to reach out. Of course, our methods of reaching out to the young people would be different from what we are doing with Kina Lucas and Kina Kanyanga. It would be very different for you. We would be looking at things that would appeal to yourselves. I'm not sure having you engage in a forum like this for 2-3 hours is one of the things that young people want. I doubt. So we would have to look at easier ways and more engaging, more fun ways to engage yourself. So should you have these structures, should you have these groupings within your communities, you're more than welcome to engage with us, and we'll be very delighted to involve you. On the issue of dual citizenship, the Constitution of Kenya does acknowledge your dual citizenship, and it doesn't matter if you are a citizen of the both countries, as long as you have your Kenyan passport. And I'll let Lucas speak to that. For us, as long as you have your valid Kenyan passport, we will register you. But the other part of the question, I will let Kida, Lucas, and Kanyange address. And thank you. Good to have you on board, Chantal.
Lovely to be here. Thank you for your answer.
Karibu.
Banagre, would you like to handle that first question, please?
Yeah, thank you. And Chantal, welcome on board, and thank you so much for showing an interest in such an important process. Elections are shunned by young people. Even our local elections here, young people do not really participate in them. But I think this is a first step.
Yeah.
For us, we said that this is an initial. We've never had, as Kenyans in the diaspora, we've never been allowed to vote until now. This is a very first time this is happening. So, and the way it happened very quickly, as Chairman Lucas was explaining there. We met the Iabc, very recently to try and put things in motion to enable people to vote in the UK. So this process has gone very quickly, but I'm encouraged to see young people like yourselves. Now, just maybe to answer nicely, we do have structures for young people. Each community, KCCC is an umbrella organization, and there are different organizations within KCCC, regional organizations, and we encourage them to set up a youth program within their region. Like in my region, I've got a youth program that is run. It's got its chairperson, it's got its secretary, it's got its treasurer, and they run the youth affairs. I think for us, we'll have to think of how we can now engage the youth and package a program like this so that it's palatable to the youth, because we might give them the material from the Iabc, and that might not be palatable to them. With the environment that we live in, and Chantel, you're one of the ambassadors who are then we are going to use you and other youth as advisors to advise us how we should package this message so that it can get to the youth, and what really stimulates them to respond to an exercise like this. So in my opinion, I think for me, this is an initial step that makes you feel more Kenyan and brings you closer to being a Kenyan, because when you start voting, you realize that you are now going to have an influence in what happens in Kenya. That's one thing you have to realize now. From the diaspora, as much as you are just going to Kenya to visit and for holidays, now you have an opportunity where we are going to vote, and in future, I'm sure it's going to open up to the space where we will have a representative in Kenya, and through there we can influence what is happening in the country. And we would like young and vibrant people like yourself, Chantel, to be able to represent the youth in Kenya and articulate issues that you need changing, or whatever you need doing over there. Now, I'll just repeat what I said last time on the program. While you are here, Chantel, you are an ambassador of Kenya, and therefore you fly the Kenyan flag and promote Kenya here. When you go to the other side, when you're in Kenya, you become an ambassador of the United Kingdom. So you, unlike some of us, you have a very heavy task on you, but I can see that you're more than capable of taking on that task. Thank you.
Wow, Chantel is really challenging me. And can I tell you, the two young girls we met today at the embassy who came to register, one is 21, the other one is 22. We did ask them whether they've got a network of Kenyans, and they say they only know very, very few Kenyans. We also challenged them. We say they need to come out, they need to find out where Kenyans are. And I also bring that issue. We talk to the embassy, because there is the desk the students desk and the youth desk, which is headed, I think, by the education attaché. We need to really bring our youth to ourselves and find out where they are. So it's up to us. This one cannot be taken to the IEBC. It's up to us in the diaspora to find out how can we bring our youth together. I know they have these little groups, but when it comes to the bigger picture of being Kenyans, I think Bonaruka's there, we take the challenge and we take it positively that we are still working, but we haven't done enough. I was expecting Ken Kangede on the program. He also has a program with the young people. And I tell you, these people, I know Chantel knows that when they have their own programs, they gather in their thousands. But I really want to get a feel as to why our youth are not interested in registering. Because I did ask at the embassy and I was told very few have gone in because obviously they're looking, the clerks, they are looking at the passports. I mean, the birth certificate, they can tell the age. So we do not really understand why you guys are not interested. I'll come back to you, Chantel. We would like to hear something from Lucas. Get those questions and ask your friends to send the questions to you. Lucas, over to you.
Thank you, and nice to see you, Chantel. Chantel is Secretary General of the group that I am a chair in Southeastern Kent. I actually didn't know you were coming to the show, so surprise, surprise. Chantel, Chantel is a very good connector of the youth, and she's got a lot of interest in Kenya. And I know at one point they took a flight, a few girls, to go and trace their roots back home. And one of the things that I want to say about the youth in KCCC, we have got a big program for the youth. And last year, we were in a program here in Beacon of Hope, and we agreed that this year we are going to have a physical youth meeting that is going to across the board. So the other thing, Chantal, just to address some of the things that you have said about dual citizenship, and this is not about the youth, it's about the parents of the children who are born here. I am surprised because we have hammered this message home that a child of a Kenyan born in the United Kingdom can acquire a Kenyan birth certificate, and that allows them to go and apply for a passport. So, and in our youth group, I've seen so many youth saying that, we did not know that we can have this. I've spoken about this in our dinner meetings. And parents, let's take this responsibility. Let me throw the challenge back to you. Let's register our kids who are born in this country because they want to exercise this right, but they are limited. If you just know the amount of people who really want to go and register with the Kenyan embassy, and they are being blocked by that Kenyan passport issue. Let us keep, I remember last week I said in one of the programs, and I'll repeat it here. Let us keep the Kenyan documents. Let them be up to date. Let them be valid, because some of us never realized that we need these documents once we got the red British passport and packed our blue passports. But one of the things that is shocking me is that in every activity that you go to as communities, you know that you are finding so many young people under 25. There are so many. 90% of them born in this country. When I was in Kenya in the park last year, about 80% of the people who were there were the youth. And there was another big meeting happening in South London. There was about 300 youth gathered in a space of, within a very short time. There were so many. And that interested me a lot, knowing that the Kenyan youth in the UK, wazazi sisi ndio tuko na shida. We are the ones who are blocking this youth accessing Matters Kenya. So Chantel, keep on doing the job that you're doing, and encouraging the Kenyan youth that they still have got that Kenyan culture in them. They still have got, they still have that sense of belonging to Kenya. And we are going to work together. The chairs of KCCC and the media people like our Councillor Kangede, and the pastors and business community and the embassy, because we are organizing a tour of the youth to the embassy. So we are going to work together, and we are going to enlighten our youth. And in connection with that, We'll be inviting people like Nice, who is happy to connect with yourselves through
Absolutely.
Zoom. The world has become a global village. Through Zoom now, you can meet somebody seated in Kajiado and you can communicate. So we are going to connect with NICE, Matters Iabc, and other government organizations from Kenya that are going to assist our youth so that they can establish what they need to establish and know their roots back home and what can benefit them back home. The time slot, as Chair Agri has said, it was too short. We have actually tried even to integrate, even us KCCC, before we came to terms with what is happening. It took us 1 week just for us to ponder what was going to happen, because we had 1 month to start registration. Where are we to start? And as Nice has said clearly, in Kenya, they have got funds to mobilize. So people are hiring caravans and vans and materials to go out there and mobilize. Here, we have been given 3 weeks, and Nice, I want you to take this back home. That next time, let us start this process immediately after August. IABC, let us involve Kenyans here from August so that we can have room for engaging our youth. We can mobilize with our own finances, but given a space of about 3 weeks, we have actually, that is why the process is what it is. We have actually tried our best, and we can only give it the best shot. But Chantel, take this home. We are going to involve the youth in everything that we are doing. I know you have an activity next week, so please speak about this. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. No, definitely. I think, so I don't know when the next time a process like this will occur. I don't know if we're talking about 2027 or if there are going to be local elections that are going to have the same format, open to voting here before that time. But I still see it as great opportunity in terms of, I know that 2021 was touch and go with even having the ability for diaspora to vote. So I'm thinking 2027, and those who are under the age of voting right now by 2027 will be 18. What are the things that we're doing in the next coming years, in the next 4 or 5 years, to build an understanding, build awareness, build the ability for people to understand what a Kenyan citizenship means for them, what the opportunities are, just the same issues that we face here in terms of mobilizing the youth, but even more so because, I heard an amazing statistic that in 2100, that Africa will be the largest population in the world with 4.2 billion people. And so even just understanding, like you said, Lucas, the way that the world is moving, the global village that we're in, the opportunity for diaspora to easily move across and move between different national identities, it's something that Kenya as a large, I can see is not taken for granted, but does need to kind of continue to put a lot of to put their resources behind mobilizing the diaspora and what that means for the impact, if we're really playing for the long game and for the prosperity and the success of the nation. And that includes the diaspora, which is, like I say, it's a great thing that the Constitution already recognizes this idea of a global village by there not being that limitation of voting, but mobilizing resources behind that and working collaboratively with the embassy and with partner organizations. We've all got work to do. So, and to me, it's an exciting thing. It breathes fresh wind into my wings for the work that we're doing with the youth in SEC and the different ways that we can take it.
Right. Thank you so much, Chantel. I'm sure you've got some questions coming in through your friends. Can I throw this question again to you? Why aren't we getting enough of you people registering to vote? Because not many of you. Any good reason that maybe you've been chatting with your friends and they've been saying, and I can see some of them are sending messages. So why?
I would probably just run off of what Chairman Lucas was saying. It's probably just the timing and the ability to actually have the mobilization of making people aware of what was going on. I don't know what the issues were on the other side. Like I said, I was doing some research earlier on, and I know that this even happening this year was a very touch and go situation, which I'm assuming is why the time length was as short as it was, to be able to mobilize, organizations down on the ground here. Had they had that time, maybe that information could have been passed down and people could have been mobilized. Like we say, there is, and the fact that the voting is localized in London is obviously another barrier as well. So even if people are finding out, right now or in the last few weeks, actually kind of making that time to make the trip and make the effort, make sure your documents are correct, do all of that, it is a short time span. So I think we do have to be cognizant of that fact, that will impact the number of youth. I have cousins who do have dual citizenship, who live in Nottingham, who live in who are going to uni in Lancaster and in different places like that, which are all very far from London. So I think that it's just those constraints that have made it that difficult, because I can't imagine if there are 50 to 100 maybe people who have voted so far, what the percentage of that would be being youth, let alone, for example, 20, 21-year-olds who are both maybe they're both students on a uni budget, traveling down from London, from Lancaster or wherever else it is. There's a lot of factors to consider in terms of what would be an obstacle to getting them to that voting.
Thank you, Chantel. Nicey, you have in response to that, you've heard from the youth's mouth.
Yeah. Oh, well, perhaps the only thing I can tell Chantel is that after this particular exercise, our electoral cycle is 5 years. So after this exercise, then the next involvement will be 2022. And I appreciate what Lucas has observed, that this was rushed. This was, we were hard pressed for time. And I'd like to believe that 2027 will be better organized. Of course, praying that all the other factors remain constant, we pray that will be better organized. But you did ask a question. There will be an involvement. The law right now allows Kenyans in diaspora to participate in the presidential and the referendum. So should Kenya go into a referendum, then you'll have an opportunity to participate. Should there be a presidential election for whatever reason, you'll have an opportunity to participate. These are things that can always change along the way, assuming we are able to get enough muscle and enough voice to try and push for amendment. As it is right now, it's from one election to another, so a space of 5 years, but then there is the participation in a referendum. So should the country go into a referendum at any one point, then those citizens of the country that reside outside the country have an opportunity to participate. Thank you.
You're muted. You are muted.
Oh, yes. Sorry. I didn't realize this. So the journey continues. Nicey, you've not had enough. You still have other youth joining in, like I told you, who would like to know why why they've not been involved properly. And I don't want to ask their questions. And I'll bring in, there we go. We've got Ken. Welcome. Nice. Welcome to the show, Ken. And tonight we've got Nicey, who is from the Iabc Nairobi. Some of the questions you young people have been asking us, she is here. So what is your feel and your take about this whole process of diaspora voter registration? Welcome to the show. And tell us who you are and the group of youth you represent, please.
Hello, my name is Ken. I represent Mambozuri. Mambozuri, we're an online community platform targeted towards young Kenyans. And as the name suggests, Mambozuri, good news. We try and promote the good of our nation. So I think, sorry, I was a bit late, but I think it's a great discussion from what I've heard so far. I'm just interested to learn more and hear more. And I think it's exciting time for our nation, and it's exciting time for us as young Kenyans who not grown up in Kenya, but we love our country and we always want to go back and we always want to support it and we always want to do, right by our nation. So it's a good time and it's a great initiative to undertake. So I think, I guess everything has teething problems. So, it's expected, but I think it's exciting for the future. And I think for me, it's something to look forward to and something for us to engage in collectively as young Kenyans too. So yeah, that's my initial thoughts.
Right. Before I bring in my two other colleagues in the panel, Lucas and Agri, Ken, why I was at the embassy today and the uptake by the young people, the youth, is quite low. From your perspective and other youth in your group, why aren't you registering? Why aren't you interested? Why haven't you partaken? These are a very short window that we've been given. So have you had any concerns, any comments from your colleagues?
I don't think there's one direct answer for that question, but I think personally, from what I've seen and what I've heard, I think it's a matter of interest. People are just not interested. I'll be honest. So if people are not interested, then then they have no reason and they have no motivation to want to get involved. So I'm not sure how that can be fixed. I'm not sure what that can happen, but I think, as I said before, this is a good way to start. Raising awareness and raising interest for even if this one it doesn't successfully appeal to the youth as wanted, it raises awareness and it raises that those conversations, and so I'm not sure I can answer that directly. I think it's for me generally the number one may be just the interest. There's no interest there for now.
When Lucas, you can come in and ask what we can do and agree before the two of them. They tell us what more can we do. Lucas, do you have a question for Ken?
Yes, I know and Ken, it's not just the youth who are not interested. We have seen even the adults, and to be fair, the civic education has not been there. So and this mobilization, there are still people here in the UK who don't know what is going on about, and they're asking, why are you putting on your status voting? And because it's over my status, who is voting, who are we voting for? So it's not just the youth, but also to appreciate IABC, even though they came at a very short time, at least this opportunity has been here. And now we can now start talking. We can start talking to the youth who will still talk to you guys, and also mobilize the youth so that they can listen to these things, because that disinterest is, we cannot blame them, because even us, we were not talking about electing anybody before December the 22nd. So we were just quiet about this whole thing. Now it has started kicking in, and we are going to reach you for 2027. That's why I'm asking nice after August. Then we have to structure this thing better. And before you go to August, I've got your answer from the High Commission. So I'll give that later when you finish with the youth.
Nicely, before I go to Agri, what do you have to tell Ken? And Ken should also tell us how many members he's got in the group so that we can strategize how to get them registered.
Ken, it's very nice to see you. And like I told Chantel, I am absolutely delighted to see young people taking an interest in the management of the affairs of your home country, and appreciating that this is a country that you perhaps visit very so occasionally, but yet you want to participate in its governance. That is very encouraging. And this is the first step in the right direction. There is a start to everything. And like has been observed here, we have experienced some teething problems, but we hope to get it better. The only way for us to get it better is to carry yourselves on board. In the next not so many years, some of us will be fading off the scene. And as we fade off, we would like you yourselves to take over this. You never know. You might find yourself someday back home and sitting where I'm sitting. You could find yourself as, not even a manager, but a very senior person in one of those government agencies, and it will be up to you to do this. Given the interest that the two of you, and I suppose the many other members within your circles, have in the affairs of your country, it will not take me by surprise if some of you are to come back and work at home. And having said that, I just want to encourage you to talk to your peers, for those whose papers are in order. And I did hear the challenge that was highlighted by Lucas, and the blame was thrown back to parents like myself. So for those of you whose papers are in order, please encourage them to come and register, so that come August 9th, then you can stand proud and be counted, and comfortably say that you had a say in the direction that your country is taken, or that will be taking. Again, I'm very proud of the both of you, that you have taken time to join these almost boring adult kind of talk. But it's very, very encouraging to see this happening. Lucas, you guys are certainly doing something right. There is a lot of interest building up at home amongst the young people, and now we have very youthful leaders. I saw in one of the forums I'm a part of, a 21-year-old who's vying for an elective position, a 21-year-old and a woman from a marginalized community from northeastern. So this is a Muslim girl, 21-year-old. Everything looks like it's against her, but she's very determined. And for me, for obvious reasons, I am praying and throwing my weight behind her and hoping she makes it, because these are the people we want to have in these positions of decision making, so that they can speak for yourselves. And this is where it starts. Please encourage those whose papers are in order to come forth and register. It will be a very, very good thing to have you participate and have a say in the management of your country. Congratulations to the both of you and the groups you represent. I am absolutely, and this I speak as a mother, I am absolutely proud of what you are doing. Thank you, Councillor.
I'm mute, am I? No, I'm not. Right. Ken, someone is asking, you would like to know how many people you have in your group. And another lady comments, Mimo Wito says, it would have been easier for the youth and everyone else if there was other registration centers outside London as well. Yes, it would have been. I think that has been handled. And everyone else, if there were regulation centers or registration, she meant registration. Ken, would you like to come in and explain, and what you do in your group, and then maybe NICE can see whether in future they can engage with you?
Okay, thank you again. So as I said, Mambozuri is an online platform initially that started 6 years ago, next month actually. So we started as just a platform to engage, to inform, to network with other Kenyans. We have a website, social media presence, events, and we've been doing that for 6 years now. And, we've constantly grown, the numbers have constantly grown, and we've seen an interest in people wanting to feel their Africanness, for lack of a better word. People are now, representing Africa, representing their homelands, and it's getting younger and younger, and the influence throughout the culture is everywhere. You can see it everywhere. And, Africans are at the forefront of everything that's happening. And so we just felt that we needed to stamp Kenya's flag in that discussion. And so that's what we strive to do. So we do events, we do marketing, digital marketing, produce content. And so, yeah, our thing is just to put Kenya on the map, East Africa. And yeah, that's a quick summary of what we do. There's 3 of us, and the network is much larger.
Right. Agreed. Do you have anything to add, or to ask the two?
I think pretty much everything has been said, but for me is to just congratulate Ken for the good work that he is doing. I think this particular exercise has opened up space that would never have imagined, and I think it's going to spur something in us as community leaders and as parents as well, to just look at things differently. Because as first generation immigrants, I always say ours was to come, and we thought that we would go back. Before we knew it, this became home, and we are kind of, somewhere kind of in a confused state. But I think the generation that's coming up now needs to be guided and needs to be given a direction. As our chair Lucas always says, we are going to put footprints so that our young people do not have to guess where to step as they move forward. So this exercise is going to enable us to do that. We are putting the footprints as we make choosing our leaders back home in Kenya, something that can happen, so that our young people in future will be able to elect leaders in Kenya, and not only elect leaders in Kenya, but themselves also participate. Because like Nicey said, there's a lady from a marginalized region. We in the diaspora sometimes feel like we are from a marginalized region because there's only so little that we can do in terms of policies back home. But this is going to open that space where we are now going to have a discussion, a frank discussion, and say that, look, we are from the diaspora. And that is why I want to encourage people to register and register and register. We cannot emphasize that enough. The more we register, the more we are going to be taken seriously, and the more we are going to even be able to lobby for electoral laws to be changed so that we can be able to vote even better and even be able to vote for the MCAs and whoever is there. But if we look at this exercise and do not register as much as we ought to, then we are not going to be taken seriously. So for me, to Ken and Chantel, I would say continue with the good work you're doing. Continue being proud of your country, because we can only have one Kenya, and that is our Kenya that we want to promote. And we, as your parents and as your community leaders, we are going to stand behind you and to give you the support that you need. I think now we will have to look at how we are going to engage the youth more. Definitely, there's an interest here, and we have a program that we are looking at as KCCC. We are going to rope in as many youth organizations as they are, so that youth can also feel that they belong to Kenyan community.
Right. Now, here we are. And I'll also throw the same question to the youth as I'll go back to them. I would like them to tell us what more they think we should be doing. What more, and where have we failed? What more can we as leaders, as IEBC, as the embassy, what more can we do? And I'll also go back to Nicey and now that we are here, now that you have taken us through the program and what we are doing and what is expected of us, why are we here? What more? What's your message for the Kenyans listening, for the diasporians, and particularly in UK now? You are in UK now. You have the latest figures. I was there at the embassy earlier on, but by the end of day, can you tell us where we are and what you think we should be doing? Everybody listening and those who will listen after this, just before the end of this window that we have. Nicey, what can we do and where do we stand?
Thank you, Councillor Kangede. There's something that Lucas pointed out and which I would like to emphasize on. He pointed out that we need to engage well before 2027. And yes, Lucas, this is what we are doing back home, and I do not doubt that it can be done here. Beyond August 2022, we can still engage our young people particularly, because I want to appreciate that it needs to start at a point where we are building their interest in the management of affairs of their country back home. So for us to be able to push them to register, then we need to first start by building their interest, letting them understand what this civic duty is, taking them through the constitutional provisions for them to have it sink inside and to be able to appreciate the need to vote. I think we are almost putting the cart before the horse here, because I don't know how well informed these people are in as far as the Constitution is concerned, their rights are concerned, and the need for them to participate in the electoral affairs of their country. So assuming that we maintain this engagement, and I really, really pray that we do, I would want to see a situation where we do not have to wait for 2027, that after this election, we actually continue with this engagement and take it upon ourselves. IEBC, myself and IEBC would be more than delighted and willing to send over our own staff to come and engage the young people. So we start by teaching them, we start by taking them through the process so that come 2027, we do not need to push anybody to register. If anything, they will be doing the mobilization. It will be them. It has to be that we have involved. The reasons why you yourselves are excited about this. I saw a bishop who came to register and she was on cloud 9, quite literally. So the reason why this is exciting for you is because you appreciate the journey. It has been a journey, it has been a walk, and now that you're seeing it come to fruition, you are excited. So the best we can do is to rope in Chantel, Ken, and all the other people. Start before 2027. Start them from scratch and teach them about what happens, teach them about the need to participate. Right now, as a commission, what we are doing is we're actually conducting elections in schools. We no longer, for those of us who went to school in Kenya, it was upon the teachers to come to a classroom and pick a prefect, pick a school head, pick anybody. But now what we are doing, we actually have elections in school. Recently, we had elections in a school where my children study. And what happened is my son mentioned to he telling the teacher picked a student and said, so and so, you're going to be the class prefect. And my son said, no, we have to go through an election. And the teacher thought, what do you mean? And he went and told them, no, my mom works for IBC and they can conduct elections. The school reached out and we actually did conduct an election. If you Google online and, check out Rules of Sharon elections in Kenya, you will see the whole process, including after the elections, we took a commissioner of oath, who's the director of legal affairs in the commission. We took him to the school to go and swear in those who had been elected. And what we achieved on that day, during the election, those who forwarded themselves to be considered for elective positions, they came to the election with 2 speeches. There was an acceptance speech and there was a conceding speech. So you are ready to lose and you're ready to concede. And I thought that was an amazing thing, because then what we are doing, we are teaching these children that by the time you're putting yourself out to be elected, it can go either way. And therefore learn to accept defeat and learn to win gracefully. So this is what we need to do with these young people. These young ones that were born in this country and that have not had exposure to this. So Lucas, Agri, and Councillor Kangede and the other leadership, let us take them through those baby steps. Let's take them through the process. Let it be inculcated inside of them so that come 2027, we'll be sitting back and watching them do what we are doing now. And I think it's doable.
Oh, thank you so much. I think with the system here, I've been teaching for over 15 years in this country. They do that from a very young age. They do have counselors, they do have people, they are class representatives who have to prepare a speech to come and try and get their votes from their colleagues, just like we do proper campaigning. Yes. And then they also give speeches, and sometimes the parents are invited. So that one with the system here, it happens. But I concur with you that that's part of what we should be doing. I'm still waiting to see whether we've got any other the same comments about the voting outside London. I think we'll continue talking about this. Lucas, you had something from the embassy. What did you want to say? And Chantel and Ken, if you have anything, please just come in and share.
I'll jump in on the point that Nancy said, and because she just echoed everything that I really was going to share as well, in regards to what we can do in this time. I always say that life is long, but it's short. 5 years is an immensely short amount of time. 5 years right now, those that are 18 years old are 13. We have a large amount of 13-year-olds within SEC youth. And I'm thinking about them as they are right now and how they want to get engaged in the things that we're doing, and just on a community level, and the ability to be able to speak to them. So many ideas come into my head in terms of, wouldn't it be amazing to see something like a civic education class that is given on digitally, that people can go and do through the embassy and learn about the Constitution and learn about, their rights or things like that. Also as well, I would propose like a 5-year strategy coming from the IEBC and the embassy, and being able to map out what does this next 5 years look like? If we want to get maximum participation from the diaspora, what are the steps that can be enacted to be able to bring this vision about? And I think that these things, because, you know, just like I said, globally, youth participation in voting is very low. For me personally, when I went to go vote for my local councillor, I mean, my voting station is literally not even a minute. It's just around the corner, the local primary school from me. So of course, making it more of a localized affair and making it easy access for people to actually then go out and make those votes as well. Having activities with you know, young people in the community who are doing great things, like Ken and Mambo Zuri and the different local community organizations that can share, you know, the importance of civic education within their communities, and just really partnering with those local organizations that are going around. And of course as well, having conversations with parents about dual citizenship and you know, I would especially stress the emphasis of the marketing and branding within this, and mobilizing and using social media to communicate these messages, using platforms like Mambo Zuri, like Mr. Seed and things like that, and other organizations as well. I would also say, I read this amazing book called Digital Democracy, Analog Politics by a Kenyan writer. Her name is Nyanjala. And I really feel that in this time, we also in the next 5 years can't make excuses about the ability to take on the need for us to digitalize this process, and for that to kind of maximize the output that we receive in terms of people jumping on board and being able to take part in their civic duty of voting. I think if we make excuses, then we leave people behind. We leave people who maybe are disabled, or people that don't have easy access to polling stations, things like that, behind. And yeah, I mean, I don't want to be the one to mention blockchain and things like that, and all the technologies that are involved in making it a secure and safe process. And you know, people are so familiar with the use of technology, and sometimes even feel safer doing things online nowadays. That using that as a tool would, or skipping that out of using that as a tool, would be such a huge shame in being able to harness and maximize on especially even this, you know, Gen X generation as well, those 13-year-olds that are right now, you know, that's all they really know. So well, that's a lot of what they know, sorry to say. Yeah, so I would say that would be a really, really important way to take on board as well in the next 5 years.
Right. Ken, do you have anything to add?
I think Chantel has pretty much brilliantly covered all the points. I think for me, the big thing is just, you know, digital, the last point she made, and how that could influence the uptake of people involved in the process. So I think that might be a game changer. So this could be the first step into the big, you know, that bigger step of using technology and things like that to increase the uptake. But I think for me, you know, politics is a tricky one, and politics, it's hard to sell politics. So I don't have an answer for how you can get people to get involved, but I think I think the point that Chantel also made first was just civic education and letting people know, you know, what is this and what is that, and who is this and who is that, and what is the process if they want to, you know, that information should be readily available for them. They shouldn't have to go looking for that. So people should understand. But you know, again, politics is politics. So how do you solve that?
Wow, hitting the nail on the head.
Oh, sorry, Kelly. I just wanted to jump off of what you said, and I agree too. And I feel like, in regards to politics, I think one of the biggest things is so aware of is so aware of like the social injustices and is so aware of the inequalities that we face as society in like everyday life, and it's instilling that confidence in them that, you know, politics can be an option and a solution, and maybe it doesn't look like, you know, that right now, but also realizing that, you know, what we see right now doesn't have to be what we see in 5 to 10 years time, and we have the ability to shape what we want to see in 5 years time, or 10 years, or 15, 20, by the decisions we make right now, and by the face that we choose to take in the light of injustice, and in the light of you know, all the issues that we face in this society today. And so it's not the only option, but it is a way that we can be able to shape the future, especially even just in politics, like Nayasi was saying, you know, the faces that we see could be drastically different in 10 to 15 to 20 years time. So, you know, how we choose to navigate that, I'm definitely a huge advocate for, you know, not only politics, but also, you know, the private industries and the amazing companies that are doing amazing things within Kenya and things like that. That we also understand that, you know, how the policies are shaped will define what the companies in Kenya look like in 20 years time, and the difference they're able to make in the world. So even in that respect as well, whatever civic education is given, that it should be like robust to really just encompass all those things as well. Yeah.
Wow, it's always nice to hear these young people. I never have enough of them. I host them so many times because every time I get new ideas, and particularly now, you know, they're enlightening us on the things that we need to do. I think what we're still being here long enough, but I can see Bishop Ann, Jerry, can I tell you, don't take that. I think we've got word from the embassy, which is the correct feedback. Please, let's wait, and I'll go straight to Lucas so that you can give that feedback, please.
Yes, about the verification code being sent on a mobile phone. The embassy says yes, but one needs to email our immigration department stating his or her email, ID card number, and alternative foreign mobile number where the verification code will be sent. This will enable our immigration department to update his or her records on eCitizen system. Emails to be addressed immigration@kenyanhighcommission.org.uk. Regards. The verification code can also be reset via email.
Thank you. So, Bishop Ann, that gives the answer. Now, my viewers, we're still here. This is Beacon of Hope. We are almost coming to the end of our program tonight, and I'll go to each one of the panelists tonight, and finally end with Naisi, who is from the Iabc. What is your message tonight to the diasporians, particularly the Kenyans in UK, regarding registration and eventually the voting in August, on 9th of August? I'll start with you, Agri. You've been quiet for a long time now. What is your message to the people who are listening and those who will listen to this message after this? There are so many people working. You've got so many people on YouTube, others online, and others who will be listening later. What is your message, please?
Thank you, Councillor. I mean, in closing, let me just first of all thank you so much for hosting me once again, and all the panelists who have joined tonight. It's been a very interesting conversation, especially coming from the youth. You know, it's an eye opener. What I would like to say to my fellow Kenyans is we are all stakeholders of the country called Kenya. And this process is not perfect. Like any other process, you will never get it 100%. But our responsibility is to participate in this process. Let us go out there, let's register, and let us vote on the 9th. All these other issues that we've talked on here, we've taken them on board. We are going to look at how to change the electoral laws, but you have to do this in a structured way. At the moment, let's not focus on those. Otherwise, we are going to lose the target. The target is to be able to participate in this event, to make sure that we have voted. So go out, register as a voter, make a sacrifice. We know that it's expensive. Sometimes you have to pay the congestion charge if you're driving in London, and you have to park in London. I have done that twice myself, because the first time when I went, the activity was not going on. I didn't give up. I went again. And I'm happy to do it again and again, because it's my democratic right, and I want to open that space, not only for myself, but for my children and my grandchildren. But that can only happen if you take this initial step. So go out there, register, register, register. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Your message is register, register, register. Mona Lucas, what is your message tonight after all what we've been talking about? What is your message?
Simple: register, register, register. And I want to thank the youth, Ken and Chantel, for bringing this up, and also Councillor Elizabeth, also for giving the youth this opportunity. We haven't actually seen the youth participate in this. We first saw the two that went to the Kenyan High Commission today, and then yourselves. And as we said, we are going to engage you more. We are going to engage you further going forward. But to the other Kenyans who have got their passports, please, let's meet at the embassy tomorrow. We are coming there. Nice. We'll be there tomorrow around 2 o'clock. We are coming. Let us all go there. Even if you don't have the document to register, just come and support those who have the documents, so that we can show that we are patriotic. The other thing that I want to say, we have got a culture of leaving things to last minute. That is the Kenyan system in us. So let us not leave this last minute. And I always give this example. The food have been served. It's on the table. Let's not complain that the table is too high, the chair is too short. Let's go out there and register to vote. During Huduma time, I just walked in because I was among the first ones, and I registered so quickly. But the following week, the queue was going around the embassy, and the neighbors were complaining. So let's not have this again next week, because I can predict this might happen again. So take your time and go there early, because we don't want to close anybody out. Don't leave it until it is too late. Otherwise, Kenyans will be telling you we are closing at 4 when we are closing at 10, so that you can come early. So let us go there early and register. See you tomorrow at 2 o'clock in the embassy. I'll come with my passport.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We've got Ken and Chantel who wants to come first and give us your parting shot and what you want to tell the youth about tomorrow.
I think I haven't got much to say. So just to add on to what the two gentlemen just said, yeah, I think it's important to register, take interest, and go ahead. And even if you're not going to register, just go down, find out more, meet people, network. You never know. But yeah, I think for me, the important thing from now that the process has started, this is the initial part. I think now moving forward is where the real work is to be done. Teaching people these things and making sure that people understand the process and why it's important and how they do it and things like this. So the next time it's not going to be, it's not going to be any questions. It's going to be a case of, when do we register? How do we register? When can we register? So I think that's the most important thing to learn from this and to take away from this, to plan for the future and to make necessary steps, way ahead of time, and just engage people through the different channels, different networks, different forums. And people love their country. People love Kenya, and we're very proud. We don't show it as much as other cultures, but we're very proud of our country and our people. So I think it's an important thing that we need to own. We need to own the pride that we have for our people and our nation. And lastly, just if you're gonna vote this year, hold people accountable. That's all I'll say.
Very good.
Can you say that again?
Politics is a game of accountability. You have to hold people accountable. These are people that you vote for. If you're going to make that journey from Manchester to London, hold the people accountable.
Absolutely.
Know what you're voting for. Do your research. and speak to people. Even if you have opposing views, speak to people, learn why they think that, and grow the community and understanding. And that's how civic education starts within the community. So that's it for me.
Wow, thank you. Chantel, I can't speak more.
I love that. Thank you so much, Ken. I feel like, what he said is so true. We don't want to just vote blindly just because we have the opportunity to vote, because that wouldn't be being responsible. That wouldn't be taking accountability for the vote that you're casting. So yeah, yes, go out and vote. Do your research first. Look at the individuals' manifestos and what they're actually proposing to bring about, what change they're making, what aligns with you, what aligns with the change that you feel that Kenya most needs. It's such an important factor. And again, just echoing off of what Ken has said, is that, going forward as well, we have such, as you can tell, I'm very much an optimist, and I do believe that, the future is as bright as you choose to see it. And so going forward in the next 5 years, my hope is that, we'll have, we would be trendsetters. Really, we would blaze the trend for Africa and for the rest of the world in terms of the ability for the diaspora to be able to partake in their nation's voting, and really kind of shaping the way that the world looks like, and taking the idea of a global village to the next level with how we participate with our politics within our home countries, to see the better Kenya that we all desire to see Kenya really kind of come into all that it is able to be, which is absolutely immense. There's so much potential within our homeland, and I feel that every time I go there. So I'm excited for what the next 5 years will bring. As we sort of mobilize also the diaspora as well, and mobilize their voice.
Thank you so much, Chantel. And obviously to tell you that it's very encouraging once again to have the two of you representing the youth and Kenyans. Let's not be that lastminute.com. But at the same time, guys, with God, we know all things are possible, like you say. But then we still reminded, faith with no action. Let us not have that faith that things will change and we are not acting. We need to act. And the action is registration. Go and vote. Now, finally, viewers, we had Nicey, who is from the IEBC, and we would like to hear from her. What is your message? We've hosted you here. You've answered all the questions. You were at the embassy. You have the final number up to the end of day today. This is day 5. What is your message to us?
Thank you very much, Councillor Kangede, for once again having me. This is part of what we call voter education, and what we are referring to here as civic education. This one, however, is specific, and therefore is specifically targeted towards the potential voter, and therefore this is voter education. Thank you for allowing us to use your platform. And then before I make my closing remarks, I thank you, Ken and Chantel, most sincerely. I am absolutely proud of what you're doing, and I look forward to more collaboration and more networking and partnering with the both of you and the communities that you represent. Lucas and Agri, again, thank you for not tiring. Thank you for not giving up, and for bearing with us and our challenges. We did not start on time. It was absolutely beyond us. There was a lot that was going on, but that is not an excuse, and we again apologize most profusely. Now, Article 82 of the Kenyan Constitution, Sabbatical 1, speaks to the realization, the progressive registration of Kenyans residing outside the country, the progressive registration as voters, and ultimately the realization of their right to vote. That right is given to you, again, in Article 38 of the Constitution of Kenya 2010. And that is what has brought us here. That is the mandate on which we are here. The best we can do, or the best we have done as an institution, for starters, is to provide the mechanism and the environment within which to facilitate yourselves to register as voters. What we cannot do, however, is force anybody to come forth and register. And that is why we are holding this talk and the many others that we have, hoping that people will appreciate that this right that is given to them constitutionally is only realized if you take it up and exercise it. It will be an exercise in futility if we come here for the number of days that we're going to have to come here and we go back home, with a dismal number of 200, 300, 400. Politics is a game of numbers. Nobody can ignore you at the table if you have numbers. You cannot be ignored. Assuming we are able to register 10,000 Kenyans, and I'm sure those numbers are here, assuming we were able to register 10,000 Kenyans, it would certainly cut the attention of every political party back at home and every politician. And what would happen, therefore, is the minute you mention that we would like to amend a specific provision within the legal framework to make it more facilitative, then they will not be able to ignore you. Why? Because you hold the numbers. And that alone is what will give us a voice at the table to be able to push for the amendments that we are looking for, to be able to push for a more facilitative environment. Like Agri had spoken to, nobody can ignore you if you have the numbers. But if we are going to do a dismal, 500 people, the same challenges we are having now, the same challenges we are addressing now will be the same challenges we'll be addressing come 2027. It must be value for money. Value for money for the IEBC and value for our time. The time we've been away from home and away from what we are ideally supposed to be doing in order to earn our pay at the end of the month. The commission must account for every penny. And the best way for us to account for this is to go back home with a report and say, here, we have got 5,000 and this was the first registration. If we start with 5,000, come 2022, the UK will be the one to push for a more conducive environment for the rest of the diaspora in as far as registration is concerned. And then, like Ken pointed out, that you hold accountable those that you elect. You'll only be able to hold them accountable if you have the numbers. Politicians have this unique habit of ignoring the minority. But if we are able to mop up the numbers, if we are able to mobilize and have the numbers, then we will be able to hold them accountable. If you raise your voice here and you want to get the attention of the president, it will be very easy to do that because you have the number. Unfortunately, politics for us in Kenya and perhaps in Africa at large, it's about the numbers. So we have the numbers, we have the voice, and we get ourselves a seat at the table. So I can only echo what has been said. Let us start from where we are at, push for the numbers. The bashing we got when we failed to start was unbearable. And I kept thinking on the day we arrived, I thought there would be queues. So I called by my colleagues and they're telling me, no, only 5 people have come. And I'm thinking, really? Did so-and-so come? No. Oh, okay. Did so-and-so come? Now I have the numbers and the names. So I'm thinking, okay, you shouted the loudest. We'll be there tomorrow. We pray. We pray that they will turn up. My joy will be to see at least 3,000, 5,000. If we are able to get to 5,000, I can assure you we'll be able to speak on behalf of the rest of the diaspora and we'll be able to push for a more conducive and a more facilitative environment come 2022. Again, thank you so much, guys, and bear with us and the teething problems we are having. We only pray that it gets better. Thank you very much. Again, Councillor Kangede, thank you so much for having me.
Wow, guys, you've had it all. What can I say? Yes, we understand the teething problems, yes. The other bit is that we guys have to be the trailblazers for this. I reminded you when we started, in order for Kenya to get the independence that we so much enjoy, there were people who shed blood. There were people who went through the struggle. Let us be those people now. What do I mean by this? If it means paying your fare from Manchester to come and register to vote, please let us make our voice heard, loud and clear. I love what I heard from my sister Janet saying today. You go to a restaurant, you ask for the food, and Lucas has repeated this. Food is served nicely, and then you start complaining. The table is too high, the table is too low. That you have the food. Come on, go ahead. So, guys, why are we saying this? We want to register, please. And Ken, one of our youth, has reminded us, as you register, come the 9th, then we'll be able to hold those guys to account. But how shall we do that if we do not have the numbers? I'm in politics here, and I know politics is a game of numbers. And Kenyans, tafadhalini, let us not be that, because we are so much known for that. A lastminute.com. Why should we wait for that? Let's hope. We've been working. I know people are busy. This is January. People have just come back from holiday. It wasn't maybe easy for people to get time off in the week. And NICE forgot to say they're open from 9 to 5 every day, including weekends. So special Sunday after church, if you want to go and register, they will be open, including they are not breaking for lunch. I was there. They didn't know why I waited up to midday one. I wanted to see whether they're taking any short breaks. They are not. They're just getting cups of tea delivered. The only breaks those guys are taking, and I sympathize with them, is just to go to the loo, stand up, stretch. They are there for us. So let's make the loudest noise, but act. So tomorrow you'll be there to see. Lucas, we have agreed we are going in the afternoon to see this. And I really want to appreciate all the people who are mobilizing the different groups. I've heard there are people who are pulling together to take different means to just make sure that they come and register. Yes, that is what we want. Let us make that loud noise. Let us act, and then we shall be heard. Clearly, you've heard what NICE has to say. If we have the numbers, we'll be heard. If the politicians back home just hear that there are only 100 registered voters, they can't be bothered. That will not make much difference. But tell you what, yes, that will. My one vote means a lot. And I'm saying this from my own experience as a councillor here, as a politician, as someone who has gone campaigning. I always tell people just that one vote makes all the difference. Please, so if we have to talk in future, if we have to change, I do not want my children, my great-grandchildren to blame me and say, you guys, you started this. Because you look at this, we are being counted as the first generation Kenyans in the diaspora, in UK actually. And we can be counted because we are the first ones to vote in America, in Canada, in Germany, in Qatar, Canada. Let us make history, because if we don't set this president properly, if the Iabc thinks it's not value for money, they cannot do this, we will have failed for our generations. Please, I don't want to be counted. So my message, register. It's still open. How many more days, NICE? When do you leave? You should tell these people.
The last day will be 7th, and that, like you said, includes Saturday and Sunday. The last day is 7th of next month.
So guys, you've had it 7th, and it's not too far. That window is too short, and we understand the teething problems. All you need is your valid Kenyan passport. If you want to go and vote in Kenya and you've got an ID and not a valid passport, you can go. The embassy has been very kind. They are facilitating that. Is very easy way of getting your passport. And I like something Lucas said today. If you are planning to go to Kenya in future, you got your ID and your passport is out of date, you can take that advantage now. Go and register with your ID. And then, because in Kenya, there is the progressive, once you get your ID passport renewed, you can go and transfer, so you don't miss that opportunity. I love that, Lucas. You don't know, I had that when we were discussing. And that's a brilliant idea. Please let us take advantage. So thank you so much. I don't know whether there's anything any of you want to say before we leave, because we don't want people to say, oh, I would have loved to hear this. Most of the people are still talking about the being at the embassy, and I think that one so far we've had. That's the gazetted area. Anybody has anything before I wind up and I say register?
Follow Mambozuri.
Yeah, sure, we will. Thank you, Ken.
Forum Mambozuri, their 6th. You are doing your 6th?
Yeah, 60th anniversary next month.
What are the events? that is outside the registration?
We have a campaign coming for the year. So we're going to launch it next month. Yeah.
Wonderful.
So follow us to find out more.
Thank you. Thank you. So, guys, once again, I really want to appreciate you. It's been over 2 hours now, and we've not tired because of the love of our country. Once again, we want to thank the young people. We want to thank the panelists, Lucas Kamau, Chair of KCC, and then Agri, General Secretary. We want to thank Nancy. I know she couldn't brave the cold. When I went, she still had her jacket on. I believe where she is, there must be all the radiators on.
Yes.
Chantel,
Fully
Ken,
heated.
thank you. It's how do you find it?
Myself or Ken?
Yeah, how are you?
Oh, well, the room is as warm as home, so I'm comfortable. The only problem is getting out of the room. And of course, missing my children.
Well, welcome to this world. So
Yeah.
let's end there and say, guys, please, if you are a Kenyan 18 plus and you've got a valid passport, go to the embassy. It's a walk-in. You don't need to book an appointment. I was there. I saw it registered. Took less than 5 minutes. Please, let's register. And over the weekend, let's make history. The world is watching. It's not just Kenya. They are watching us because all those boards are displayed everywhere. Please, let's register to vote. Thank you so much, my viewers. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, the panelists. Thank you, the young people, and anybody else. We've got the different channels where we are channeling these messages. If you want to know more, we've got a WhatsApp page. We've got all these leaders from KCC from the different regions. We are here. If you also want to follow, there is African Arts, Janet Wainana doing very, very well. We've got other leaders, church leaders. We've got so many people who are talking about this because we all love Kenya. So thank you. Have a good night, everybody. Register to vote till we meet. And I want to hear after 7th, these people, we've done well. We cannot sit here and not really get results. So once again, kwaherini. I really appreciate having you. Good night and God bless.
Good night.
So guys, thank you ever so much for joining. It's been another show where we have just been talking about diaspora vote. And I can see somebody saying, problem with that is that you cannot, the good lady tell us how many they have registered so far. She never said it. Iabc did the Huduma number around UK, which made it easier for us to register. Yes, I asked that question. That was the question. I think you came in a bit late. If you follow, you will be able to get that answer. Yes, she did not tell us the numbers, but like they say that the number is low. It's not as per what we expect. I don't know the numbers by the time we went, but I believe over the weekend things will change. Guys, it's interesting. And I know people are interested. People will go and register because we love our country. We want to participate. And some of the questions, the issues that we had, I think have been handled. So once again, let's keep up. On our Facebook pages, we'll keep updating. You are a leader in yourself, everybody. Don't just wait for me, for Lucas, for others. Find out any good information you have, just share with us. Yes, Shirowaba says she is registered. Well done, good. Well done. We are proud of that. So please, let us keep an eye on. There is a WhatsApp page, and we've got our leaders, our regional leaders. We've got churches, and we're having a meeting with some of the church leaders just to hammer this and so that they can ask any questions. So once again, register. God bless you. Nicholas Karanja, are there plans for Iabc to move to other cities to register votes? Yes. No. In UK, it's only we just answered that question. In UK, the only center is London, and that has been the problem. People are complaining that is too far to go around, but unfortunately, the Iabc team, we've challenged them, but they said that is the only registered center gazetted, and they cannot change for now, and we are happy that these are the teething problems, but in future, we will have a voice. Once we register, we can have the numbers, and these people will listen to us. Can we register with a Kenyan ID? And we have handled that. We said Kenyan ID if you're going to vote in Kenya. But for here, if you are going to vote in the diaspora, in UK, for example, you can only register with a valid Kenyan passport. You can use your ID to register here if you will be in Kenya in August to vote. That's the only time you'll be allowed, but you can register using your ID to go and register and vote in Kenya. It's too bad that it's only London, but Mimi, yes, kuja tu. Unfortunately, that has been our complaint. We've all been shouting so loud that people have to travel all the way, leave around Sheffield. People have to travel from Scotland, take flights, and then after taking flights, they need accommodation, they need meals. People have imagined a family of 4 or 5, but these are the teething problems. The people who fought for our independence shed blood, some lost their lives, and now we enjoy that freedom. Can we be the trailblazers? Can we be the people who will set that for them? So once again, thank you so much for following, and keep up. We will follow these pages, so we will update you and know any more updates that we may have. You never know. We might host maybe the chair of Iabc to find out more. So thank you once again. God bless you. Have a lovely weekend. This has been your program, your show, Beacon of Hope, and I am the CEO, Councillor Elizabeth Kang'ethe, Mrs. Bishop BK. Follow us every day. Not every day. Follow us on YouTube, Beacon of Hope. Follow us on Facebook for more and others, because we host all sorts of topics, leadership, all sorts of topics that we get. We are here for you as a community. God bless you. We love you. Have a blessed night. Have a blessed evening. Have a good night. Wherever you are, may the Lord bless you. Do you good. Thank you. Register to vote.